This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Are the leaders in charge of the government work?
Yeah,
Did you say that the government released money?
obviously, yes.
Did you say that the contractors were not paid?
Yes.
Doesn't the government has plan or budget?
They do, but they don't follow.
Do you believe in anti-corruption unit?
Obviously, yes, but it is not implemented.
Did you know that A and B companies contract was cancelled by the government?
Yeah,
Did you talk about a school not being built?
schools are built, but infrastructures like that, teaching aids and
No, I
textbooks
just
are not
want
there.
yes or no.
It's okay, say no.
Did your fellow give a evidence to back up on that reason?
The reason that schools are not constructed?
Yeah.
No.
Do you have any clarification to prove that the road that leads from Gulu to that the road of Gulu was supposed to be constructed?
Obviously, yes, from the Afrobarometer.
I said yes or no.
It's okay, say yes.
Do you have the real source of information?
Yes, the Afrobarometer.
Can you actually convince someone who is from a different place and wants to know the real reason?
Yes, because even the
I said yes or no.
It's okay, it's a yes.
Did you really lay your point of clash?
Obviously, yes.
Do you believe that the government is in charge of providing the money to the people who are supposed to work?
Yes.
They are the general house at large. She actually failed to convince me at all. First of all, she said that she knew that A and B company's contract was cancelled. Yeah, of course, because they actually misused the money, the funds that was provided by the government. What do I mean? This money was provided by them actually to work and construct roads. Because every year that we believe that the government always have a bill, and she said that always I do not know that the government implement. Now why is it that always there is a budget time and a budget year? Means you do not believe in your government emphasis towards developing this country. And another one, she said that the government never released any money. The government released the money. Of course, there's no way you can have a budget of what you do not have. You can now have a budget to say that you're going to surface the hair, and yet you do not have the potential. And another one, she said that the leaders are in charge of the government work. Yeah, you're actually supporting our side, and I'm so glad. Continue. Well done. She said this because my fellows here came and said that the people who are supposed to implement the government work are these officials. For example, the LC5, who represents the government in the districts. So what do I mean? They are the ones supposed to actually build these roads. And you do not blame the government. The government have done their part. It's like a person here who said that the school was not built and has no evidence. You cannot speak of something that do not have what to clarify that is the truth or wrong. Because if you said that the school was not constructed, why are there in existence of government schools, and why are those schools functioning and those teachers are being paid, and still you stand firm that those schools are not yet built? I think maybe you do not know what you're talking about. And another one, you actually say you do not believe in you believe in the anti-corruption unit, but they are not doing their part. Now why are some of the MPs in prison due to swindling of the money? I do like to lay my case. Thank you very much.
Once you speak and you don't implement and expect results, what is actually the end game of what you're trying to end? Like Lydia, Secretary at Senior Secondary School. Dear Speaker, before I go further, are LCs part of government or not?
You are supposed to ask me yes or no question, not ask
Yes.
the judge.
Can you answer it? Are they part of government? Yes or no?
They are part of government,
Thank
yes.
you. The next question is, who employ constructors in the country?
The government.
Thank you. The next question is, do you believe that students in northern Uganda have access to enough classrooms, qualified teachers, and textbooks?
Yes.
They do, right? Okay. For lack of textbooks, the next question is, Are you acquainted that the Juba-Gulu highway is still incomplete due to government's lack of political will?
Under construction.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Now this is where we see their failure. The Gulu-Juba highway was supposed to be constructed in 2020. And when 2020 came, the government had to postpone it to 2022. But now we need to understand one thing, that the team negative is trying to fail in this situation. They are saying that the government are not the people who are responsible for the shoddy work in northern Uganda. That is the LC one. But now we need to understand that LCs are also part of the government members in the house at large. We need to understand that however much they are part of the government, they stay in the state house like the president, and we don't expect them to come in the community to say that you should do this and to follow up that the work is appropriate. That is why they have appointed LCs and MPs to make sure that they can reach to their people easily. And then we are seeing already a failure. They are not actually following up their work, and that is the reason why we are seeing shoddy work. In 2020, the Uganda Inspectorate of Government invested allegations of corruption and mismanagement of funds, Uganda shilling 24 billion. That was misused, and it was unaccounted for. What do we realize in this case? We see that there is already corruption, and then the government is not trying to solve it. Then that is the reason why we also see that there is shoddy work, because that 24 billion was accounted for constructing a full road in the Gulu-Juba highway. And right now, currently, we are seeing that they have only constructed 2, and it was in a shoddy manner, whereby we are seeing a lot of potholes. And the government tried to claim that they are going to make in 2020. 2020 passed and they postponed it to 2022. 2022 passed and they postponed it to 2024. Currently, there is no work being done. We are seeing that there is delays because the government is not having will to help the people of northern Uganda, and that is why we see there is already unwillingness by the government, and that is why we see shoddy work being done. We also see that according to traffic police report, northern Uganda reported second highest number of road accidents, accounted for 35%, and this was attributed to poor road networks. Since the government is not willing to help the people of northern Uganda, their unwillingness, the one causing the rise into poor road networks, because they don't follow up. However much they send contractors, you send somebody who you don't even pay. You don't pay at the end of the day, because we see the contractors come, and then the government being unwilling, they try to delay the payment of this contract. Of these contractors, and at the end of the day, you expect something to be achieved, and that is why we are seeing shoddy work in northern Uganda. I rest my case.
Okay. I want to appreciate both teams, both team affirmative and team negative. The government is made up of 3 arms: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. Team negative. In the first speeches, you are saying that actually you are blaming the constructors and the contractors, right? Now you begin by saying that no, let us blame the MPs, the LCs, and authorities. One of even your speakers has even asked that, and MPs and LCs part of the government, even ask me a yes or no question. They ask you the yes or no, and you say yes, they are part of it. Then why are you saying that the government is not to blame, but the contractors? If the MPs that you are going to concede that they are to take the blame, because you say the government should not move from State House to come and supervise roads. It is the work of the MPs and the LCs. So you mean the MPs and the LCs are not part of this government? So the issue is, if the opponents that you are having are trying to draw, like they are trying to tell you that, you know what, the alternative you have, or we are having this standpoint, we are blaming the government because it is the government that is giving the contracts to the contractors. It is a very good argument, which I really appreciate you are taking, but no, it is actually this very government that even revokes the licenses through the arguments that you give. So, when again you begin conceding that actually the MPs and what you are talking about are part of the government, meaning we should blame, then the question is now, why do you say that we should blame the contractors and the constructors and not just come and side up with these people?
Thank you for this debate. Now we have a resolution before us today, and it is looking at who are we to blame for the bad infrastructure in northern Uganda. Is it the government, or is it whatever alternative team negative was supposed to give us? Now, definitely, just like Judge Solomon has said, this all starts with what are we contextualizing as what not even contextualizing, what is the government? So we've all understood that the government is not one person, President Kaguta Museveni. However, it is the entirety of what? Of the bodies of government up to the local government. Now moving on. Both teams, I do understand maybe you had a very little scope to cover maybe northern Uganda and you zeroed down to only maybe Lira. However, this resolution, I do feel like there is more evidence to failures or to infrastructure or poor infrastructure that is not only the Juba Road. You understand? And that is not only, precisely you all mentioned the Juba Road. You understand that. So maybe if you ever get a chance to debate such a resolution, you broaden up your information to further than just one example that is debated throughout the entire debate. Now moving on. Team Affirmative, you come up and you give us, you tell us various ways in which you show that maybe the government is the leading or is the one that we should blame. You give us evidence as to roads, you give us evidence as to schools, and you also tell us that the government delays its projects. Now, Team Negative, you come up and you tell us that, you know what, at the end of the day, it is the contractors and the leaders of these projects that should be blamed. Now, we've already understood that the leaders of these projects are the government, because what Judge Solomon is telling you, when you avoid that, you see, you make rebuttal easy for them. You understand? All they have to do is to draw you back to the government. When you come up and you tell them, leaders of projects, that the ones to blame, they're going to tell you, you know what? That when you tell them contractors, they tell you that, you know what? It is actually the government that delays to pay the contractors. That's okay. Now, when you tell them that it's actually the leaders of the projects, they're going to come up and draw everything back to the government. That makes rebuttal for them very, very easy. Now, moving on. The contractors that you end up mentioning. Strategy is what costs you as Team Negative mostly. Your reasoning and everything else aside, it is strategy. If you strategize through contractors, they're drawing you back that it is what? It is the government that is in charge of monitoring them. Try as much as possible when you're preparing for resolutions to make sure that whatever strategy you're coming up with is not going to be answerable or compounded into their own strategy as a Team Negative or as a Team Affirmative.
Welcome back from a fairly good round, which was a little bit heated. I don't know where the emotions were coming from, so I'll just rush through things that I think should not be done another time. So, Affirma 3. Just stick to the podium, right? Next time. Affirma 1. Affirma 1. A POI is not a cross-examination. You ask once, they answer, then you stop. You don't follow it up with a question. So just ask once. Then Negator 1, if you're not challenging definitions to change the meaning of the resolutions, please do not engage in redefining. Please redefine when the definition is so important that it's going to change the arguments that should follow. So if you're just giving us the different definition, please do not redefine. Then the negative team, please avoid contradictions. They have already told you about the contradiction of what amounts to government, but even on corruption, you had a huge contradiction. At first, you tell us that yes, there is corruption. In your third speech, you tell us that there is no corruption in northern Uganda. So which is your stand on corruption? Then also you bought into the lie that shoddy work is only in northern Uganda. These people trick you and say, we only have shoddy work in northern Uganda, and you ride along. So do not open your minds a little bit broader to think about the arguments that are made. So I will not differ so much from what other judges have told you. I gave 14 for style to the affirmative team and 12 to the negative team, 22 for content to the affirmative team and 20 to the negative team, 26 for strategy to the affirmative team and 23 to the negative team, 62 for the affirmative team and 55 to the negative team. It is a unanimous decision that the affirmative team wins the debate. Thank you.